Hi, I'm Vince. Welcome back to Metanoia, the rock concert series, which follows the journey of conversion of Simon, also known as Peter, the rock upon whom Jesus built his church. This is episode 7. In the previous episode, Simon Peter hit rock bottom. Just a few hours after boldly professing his commitment to Jesus, even his willingness to die for and with Jesus, he cowardly denied ever knowing him. And now Simon Peter was hiding. For fear of the Jews, yes, but also because he couldn't bring himself to face the apostles, and especially Mary, the mother of Jesus. The events of the past few days kept replaying in his mind, until one particular memory stood out. Jesus had said something to him in the upper room during the Last Supper they had together. "Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has demanded to sift all of you like wheat. But I have prayed that your own faith may not fail. And once you have turned back, you must strengthen your brothers." Jesus had actually prayed for him. Right then, Simon Peter knew what Jesus wanted him to do. Mustering the courage, he left his hiding place and went to face Mary and the apostles. That Sunday morning, the frantic voice of Mary Magdalene woke him up. "The tomb is empty. They have taken the Lord out of the tomb." Straight away, he and John ran to the tomb and found it empty, except for the burial clothes of Jesus. Seeing this, John believed. Jesus had risen from the dead, just as he told them he would. Simon Peter wanted to believe, but was afraid to hope, and afraid of its implication. If Jesus is alive, will he ever speak to me again? Then, sometime after that visit to the tomb, the answer came. The risen Christ appeared to him. We don't know where, we don't know how, but we know why. Jesus met him where he was, drowning in his guilt. The denier needed to be forgiven. What's odd is that Simon Peter did not tell anyone about it. The old Simon would have announced it the moment he got the chance. But Peter knew it was not the right time. The important thing was that he had been reconciled with his friend and master. That night, Jesus revealed himself to the other apostles in the upper room. A week later, he appeared again in the upper room, this time for the benefit of the doubter. Then, much later, Jesus appeared to them by the Sea of Galilee, where Simon Peter's journey began. Like that day 3 years ago, he fished all night long but ended up with nothing, until Jesus came. So much had happened since then. He had gone from being a fisherman to a disciple, to a leader, to a failure. His epic fail crossed his mind as he approached Jesus on the shore, standing by a charcoal fire, inviting the apostles to have a meal with him. Simon Peter was also standing by a charcoal fire when he denied ever knowing Jesus. Remembering that moment broke his heart into a million little pieces again. But Jesus did not come this day to reproach Simon Peter for his fall. He came to remind Simon Peter of his call.
When they had eaten, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these others do?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my lambs." A second time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He replied, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." Jesus said to him, "Look after my sheep." Then he said to him a third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Simon Peter was hurt that he asked him a third time, do you love me? And said, Lord, you know everything. You know I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. In all truth I tell you, when you were young, you put on your own belt and walked where you liked. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and somebody else will put a belt around you and take you where you would rather not go. In these words, he indicated a kind of death by which Simon Peter would give glory to God. After this, he said, follow me.
Simon Peter was bracing himself for this. He knew Jesus had already forgiven him, but he also knew that he no longer deserved to be the leader Jesus had chosen him to be, not after what he did. So when Jesus started to address him in front of the others, his heart sank. This was it. Jesus was about to tell him he had been disqualified. But what Jesus said next caught him totally by surprise. Do you love me? He asked. The old Simon would have answered, of course! I love you so much that I'm ready to die for you. But he was more Peter now. Circumstances had humbled him. Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. That was all he needed to say. No promise of any future bravado. Just a confession of present reality. He truly, deeply loved Jesus. 3 times Jesus gave him the opportunity to confess his love, supplanting the memory of his denials. And each time, Jesus reaffirmed the mission for which he chose Simon Peter. Despite his flaws and failures, he was still the rock upon whom Jesus would build his church. But he couldn't be what he was created and called to be unless he learned to surrender to the Father's will and died to his own agenda. Follow me, Jesus said to him 3 years earlier. Hearing those same words now, after the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus, Simon Peter finally understood exactly what they meant. Like that first call, we don't hear him respond with a yes, because actions speak louder than words.
Who would tell a sinful man to cast the net out deep, then fish for men? Who would ask a simple mind to fathom mysteries? Who do you say I am? Who could walk on water and calm the raging seas? Let me brave the tempest and calm the storms in me. I don't know, Lord, what you see in me to believe that I can live a life that's worthy of your calling. If there's anything good within me, it's not my doing, only you can move and live in me. Only you, Jesus. Who would choose a weaker man to be the rock of faith and let it stand? And who forgive all my denials and still say follow me and feed my lambs? Who could rise again and meet me where I am? Take me to the time and place where I first knew love. I don't know, Lord, what you see in me
We are now nearing the end of this journey with Simon Peter, and I can't wait to see you next week for the last and final episode of Metanoia, the rock concert. For those who missed our previous episodes, check out our Living Hope Facebook and YouTube pages. As always, feel free to share this video with your family and friends so they can journey along with us. See you in the next episode.